Just hello everybody, but we cannot see, we cannot hear you, Dima.
Hello, everybody. Hope all is good with you. I'm really happy to be with you today on Saturday. Hi, Richard. Hi, Jim. Good day. So today we are starting our short stream about DeFi on Bitcoin. I think it's going to be a really interesting stream and discussion. It will be between two of us. My name is Dima. I'm a general partner at Raise Capital, and we also have Petro today with us, who is our senior analyst. And, yeah, briefly about me, I have a legal background, so I could be a little boring from time to time, as all lawyers are. And after being a lawyer, I've driven a business accelerator for 6 years, and a couple of recent years we've been investing as Rex Capital. And actually, we are investment and advisory firm, so we are also helping Web3 startups to grow. And yeah, Petro, before we dive in, could you please tell a few words about yourself?
Of course, yeah. Thank you for taking it over to me. So, my name is Petro. I'm a senior investment analyst here at Strix Capital. I joined the team in early 2022. Before, I was working with a data science project with government. So were building a product to help citizens to get access to data. And while working with a big amount of data, I just decided it's quite boring for me and I want to move to a Web3 industry. So I started to investing by my own, researching everything. But in a certain time, I decided that I could want to go full time into crypto. And it was a great decision, I can say. The journey is quite up and down, but still it's really interesting, and was like no boring day for me. So at Strix Capital, my main responsibility is to working closely with startups, so screening them, defining top-notch deals on the market, and also helping them to grow, providing various of advisory services. And I believe before we start, to remind you or introduce more words about Strix Capital and what we are doing.
Yeah, sure. Just in short, Rex Capital is a digital investment and advisory firm, and we are focused on early stage Web3 ventures. So, if you run a startup or you're an accelerator or you're a venture firm, Web3, we will be happy to talk to you. Discuss your startup, discuss all the pipeline activities that you have, and share some great startups. We also run a 3x Club, that is a community investment vehicle where we invest together with a few of the accredited investors that would like to join with smaller tickets. So that's in short about us. And during the last 5 years, we've been doing quite good, I would say, with the general average return of 9x. And we mostly were focused on infrastructure, but we also were investing in DeFi and game finance a little bit. We are not focused on it much anymore. Yeah, that's short about what we do. I don't want to focus and take too much time focusing about us. I'm really excited to talk about the new developments on Bitcoin and on Bitcoin ecosystem. It seems that we start to have new utility for Bitcoin, and with the recent NFTs and text records on ordinals, and then development of new format of BRC20 starting as an experiment, and now it seems it's quite a big market already. You have quite a few projects that are on BRC20, and if you take into account the activities of Bitcoin, on-chain activities. It seems like it is a bull run, but it is a bear market actually. So really interesting to speak about that and to compare Bitcoin, BRC20 with Ethereum. Actually, we still don't have any smart contracts on Bitcoin. Of course, it's new in this ecosystem. So I'm really happy to discuss it today. Petro, I believe you will start with your presentation.
Yes, of course. Thank you for covering and this introduction for what we've been discussing today. What else I want to encourage you guys to ask questions at your thoughts in the comments. We will be reviewing from time to time to answer anything. And also I will ask Dima you to take a look into the comments. If you will see some questions, feel free to interrupt me and we will cover them all. So let's start with the presentation of screen. And I will need.
We have a question from Ella. If we're gonna be at Bitcoin 2023 Miami, probably somebody from our team would be there. I don't plan to go there personally. Neither Petro, as far as I know. But hopefully somebody can be there.
Yeah, we are quite losing your voice, Dima. I need you to confirm. So I will start and you will try to fix it, okay? So yeah, starting briefly with the description and like a reminder, what is the Bitcoin? What is the difference between Bitcoin and Ethereum? So I found a great summary here. So as we know, the Bitcoin as a network was created by anonymous Satoshi Nakamoto, who might be even a group of people. And it was created in 2009 in a response to global banking crisis. And from the other side, the Ethereum, which is currently one of the biggest networks in the blockchain in Web3, was created 6 years later by actually doxed known team, including Vitalik Buterin, Charles Hoskinson, Gavin Wood, who actually have their own projects right now. So Gavin Wood is working on Polkadot currently and Charles Hoskinson is having his own layer 1 blockchain. So also the purposes of the Bitcoin and Ethereum are quite different, because the idea that was coined by Satoshi Nakamoto for Bitcoin was the alternative to traditional fiat currencies. So it can be used as medium of exchange and also store of value, but actually you can't build anything on Bitcoin. But right now, what we want to discuss today and what we are seeing with new narratives is that from time, there are more and more utilities happening on Bitcoin. And we can see that in the near future, we might even have the ability to build smart contract dApps on Bitcoin. So we might see it in the future. So the main difference here with the Ethereum is that the Ethereum is more like a platform to create programmable contracts, which are called smart contracts, and various applications in the network. And in the past, Bitcoin and Ethereum had the same consensus mechanism, which was proof of work. But currently, the Ethereum network is already migrated to the proof of stake mechanism, and we will cover it today more in detail, just to review and remind you how it works. The block size is also different in this case. So the block of Bitcoin is bigger, and time to complete the block is also bigger for Bitcoin. The throughput.
Petro, I wanted to ask you if you could please zoom in a little bit. I think this is a really interesting table that we are now seeing. And yeah, I just want to make sure that everybody can see it properly. Yes, thanks.
Okay, yeah, let me continue with the TPS and transaction throughput. So as you can see, the difference between Bitcoin and Ethereum is quite big, But if you think in a bigger scale, the scalability of both networks is quite low at current state. So for Ethereum, there are different solutions, and a lot of smart people, smart minds are working on the scalability issue. So we've seen a lot of layer 2 projects like Optimism, Arbitrum, and currently with the trend of zero knowledge, we've seen the zk Sync, Polygon ZK EVM who are working to scale the network. And from the perspective of Bitcoin, we've also seen the technology which is called Lightning Protocol, and it allows to actually have cheaper transactions and better speed and better throughput for the payments. We will cover this technology in details today as well. And also, one of the main differences between these two networks is supply. So the supply of Bitcoin is actually limited. There won't be more than 21 million of Bitcoin ever. And there are statistics that part of Bitcoin is already lost, and we won't see the 20 million BTC in supply ever. And for Ethereum, the supply is not limited. There can be as many Ethereum as possible. But with the migration to proof of stake, we've seen that when the activity on network is high, actually the network becomes deflationary and the supply is actually decreasing. So the projection for the future of Ethereum is actually deflationary model, where we will see that supply of Ethereum native token either will be decreasing with the time and with the adoption of the blockchain. Let me know if you can see where I switching the tabs in the browser.
Yeah, works well. By the way, I just wanted to ask people who are with us, please share your story. How did you get first to know Bitcoin? For me, it was in 2016. There was no stable coins yet. You could only buy it, via exchange with a person individually who actually had it. So it was a lot of fun. And of course, Lightning was not there. And I do remember when Lightning was coming up, and it was a huge thing, but now we can see it still doesn't solve the problem. And I think the problem is going to be there if we will see the development of the ecosystem.
Yes, indeed. Agree on that. Yep. I told you that I will describe the difference between proof of work and proof of stake. I won't be messing along around here. I just want to highlight the main difference. So for proof of work, what you can see is that it needs a lot of energy consumption, and actually to add each block to the chain, miners are competing equation, which is quite of a puzzle. And for completing this puzzle, the first miner who solves it actually receives the reward for his job, for his work. And to actually hack the network, to have this malicious impact, the entity or group of people needs to have more than 51% of the network. So when the network is growing and the market cap of the cryptocurrency is becoming higher, it is more and more harder to have these hackers who will be able to control 51% of the computer power. From the other side, for proof of stake, there is no competition for block, and everyone is participating in the network. But here, the controlled node operators is coming from the actually ownership of the token. And to have malicious impact on the network, the one entity or group of people needs to have at least 51% of the all cryptocurrency supply. And actually, there is no reward for making a block, so there is no competition, but there is a yield reward for staking your assets. So, for example, if you have your 32 ethers, you can become a validator in Ethereum. You can stake them and receive around 4% of yield on top of your assets. But if, for example, you will have problems with your validator, for example, if electricity go down and your validator go offline, a part or even all of your stake can be slashed. So it's not like incentivized for hackers to actually try to hack the network because risks for them are quite high. So this is the main difference.
Yeah, Petro, I was wondering, do you know where is the biggest mining pools right now? I remember China was quite active, but then with new legislation, a lot of people swiftly changed their locations. And do you know where now all of those biggest mining pools reside?
Yeah, I remember this time it was a big shift from China, because China was representing around 30 up to 40% of mining power then, and at a certain point of time, the mining was like legally forbidden. You cannot mine in China, and a lot of people and a lot of organizations moved to US, and also part of them were moving to other countries in Asia. So we had a certain event a year ago, I believe, where there was some problems with mining in Kazakhstan. So Kazakhstan was representing around 10% of mining power, if I'm not mistaken, currently. So with the shutting down of miners in Kazakhstan, we lost around 10% of hash power in a day. So currently, the representation of miners around location is first place is United States, but still after the China banned the mining, then a lot of companies moved out from China, but then some of them get back, and I believe currently China is also representing a quite big part of this mining ecosystem.
Yeah. Yeah, I see we have few people watching us from the US. Please let us know if it is quite popular in your area, or maybe you're part of the mining pool, or you are the miner. Would be also be the case. Would be interesting to hear how is it going with you. Yeah, now let's continue to smart contracts. I think we are getting closer to the main topic of the today, BRC20 and the Bitcoin ecosystem.
Yes, of course. Quite like short summary of what smart contract is and how it works. So basically, it allows you, like both parties, to have the trust between each other and automation of the deal. So in this example, you can see that there are two parties: the one who wants to sell his house and the one who is buying the house. And here, the smart contract is actually matching buyer and seller, receiving both assets, like the house and money that should be paid for the house. And then the smart contract automatically distributes asset between both parties. And John, who wants actually to buy the house, receives his asset and has undisputed ownership of it. And Bob actually receiving cash and has everything sorted. And this is how smart contracts works on Ethereum. And this is something that possibly we can see as a link between Bitcoin and Ethereum through different layer 2 chains. And with that introduction, I would like to move to numbers and compare Bitcoin and Ethereum here. So this is a powerful tool that we are using for our analysis. It's called Token Terminal. You can check it. And here you can see that daily active users for Bitcoin, it means daily active wallets who are somehow taking part of the network activity, is standing at around 500,000. But in terms of fees, we've seen a quite enormous spike here. And this spike was made by actually introduction of this ordinals technology that we will cover today. And in comparison to Bitcoin, we do have metrics for Ethereum, and the number of active users for Ethereum is slightly lower than for Bitcoin. So we see slightly higher than 300,000 active users, and also we've seen the spike in daily fees for this network. To understand the distribution of Bitcoins between different wallets, there is also a great tool called BitInfoChart. So what we see here is that actually more than 90% of all Bitcoin supply is tied to wallets that have at least one Bitcoin. And basically, we can understand that Bitcoin is actually held by whales, and a lot of Bitcoin is held by institutions. So you might know that the biggest institution that is holding Bitcoin is MicroStrategy. With Michael Saylor, they are having around 2 billion in assets in Bitcoin. And we do have holders like Tesla, like government of El Salvador, and also various companies. So for them, it's important to have something like proof of source of money when this Bitcoin is coming. So they are tied highly to KYC and AML checks. And also what actually institutions like, they do like yield. So when we will see the yield on Bitcoin, in my opinion, it's the matter of time. And when this yield will be safe, we might see a bigger adoption from institutional investors, because currently, according to data, we do have 8% of total supply of Bitcoin held by institution. And in my opinion, it will be only growing in the future.
That's interesting. And do you think this trend for BRC20 projects will change or reverse this trend?
I think that currently this trend is like with all new coming trends that we have, what we've seen with the NFTs in the past, but when we see this S curve of interest, a lot of people are interested in something new. They want to buy it, they want to participate, but then with the matter of time, they are understanding that, okay, it was like more like a bubble. Technology is cool, but it is really overvalued. So I think that for the next few months, we might see the quite less interest for Bitcoin from institutions, because even to buy Bitcoin right now, you need to pay a lot more than you would need to pay a few weeks and months ago. So we might see this pause in the adoption of institution, but in the long term, it's inevitable, in my opinion.
Sure, interesting.
And another potential for Bitcoin is actually the total value lock that can be distributed on Bitcoin network with the adoption of DeFi. And to compare the size and potential market for it, we can look at total value locked at Ethereum network. So we do have 52 billion of assets locked into different protocols on Ethereum. And this can be considered as the potential for Bitcoin. And to compare, we do know the market cap of both assets, and Bitcoin is around 2 times bigger in terms of market cap. So you can imagine that there is $500 billion of assets held by different investors, and only small part of it is actually used in DeFi. And I think part of you know how the Bitcoin is used in DeFi right now, but the answer is breach. So you can breach your Bitcoin to, for example, Ethereum network, and then go to DeFi app and provide the liquidity with it, use it as a collateral to make some loans. So you can do it, but the backside, like the other side of this thing, is problems with hacks. So here is the great stats of different hacks. So we know that from starting of the Web3 and blockchain industry, we did see 6.5 billion in hacks, and the biggest hacks were tied actually to bridges. So we seen the hack of Ronin bridge in March of 2022, and more than 600 million was lost during this hack. Sorry. And this is the main risk for Bitcoin holders and someone who is considering to use the Bitcoin on EVM compatible network. So we do need some other solutions, safe solutions that will allow more and more Bitcoin holders to use their blockchain in different DeFi applications.
Mm-hmm. And I'm seeing comment from Eva. She is saying, I'm not sure, there's a lot of philanthropy taking place in Bitcoin. Yeah, I think recent years have shown that cryptocurrencies can actually be can have a lot of impact through philanthropy and through NFT collections. I think there were millions of US dollars collected in donations through NFTs and direct donations and direct donations in Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. I've recently read a report on that and how all of this philanthropy influenced the Russian-Ukrainian war. And it is amazing how people are using, and this is a great example of utility of cryptocurrencies and how people can, freely transfer money. Okay, yes, Lightning Network, Petro.
Yes, I'm also following up this philanthropy and donations. I do remember quite great projects called Unchained Fund that was created by Ukrainians, and it's created a lot of impact and attracted money from all over the world. So it was a great example of utility of philanthropy through the Bitcoin and through the crypto. And yeah, moving to Lightning Network, here is the description of the technologies. Basically, it means that the transactions are happening off-chain between parties, and then only result is coming back to Bitcoin blockchain, allows to have faster transactions, lower fees transaction, and actually you can use Lightning Network to, for example, go to the shop and buy a coffee for yourself, and you won't need to pay a high transaction on top of it. So the technology was highly paced adopted. So it started actually in 2018. So we see here that in 2018, the capacity of Lightning Network was 80 Bitcoins. And with the market trend and trend of the adoption of Bitcoin, we've seen actually the growth of the capacity. And right now, the size of Lightning Network, size of Bitcoins inside it is only growing, despite that starting from November 2021, the price of Bitcoin is decreasing. So we are in the bear market, but the capacity of Lightning Network is only growing. So it means that we do see the adoption, we do see the utility of this network, and we do see how the Bitcoin actually can be used as the payment method, which was the idea of Satoshi Nakamoto and the main utility for the Bitcoin. And right now I want to move to these hot topics that we wanted to discuss today, the new utilities for Bitcoin that came to us from the simple experiment by one of software engineers, and they made a lot of noise around crypto community. And this tool actually, Dune Analytics, allows you to browse through different types of data, so you can find a lot of useful information, and it's really easy to navigate and to find everything you want here. But coming back to technology, is called Ordinals protocol, and it actually allows you to put the data inside the Bitcoin blockchain. So it's based on the idea, which was created by KZ Rodemore, who is the software engineer with the background of working in Google. And currently he's running one of the US communities of Bitcoin devs. So he created the idea, which actually allows to have a numbering mechanism for sats. And sats are like the small parts of Bitcoin. And the main thing here is the inscription. It allows to put the information inside sets. Actually, it's inscribed sets with various content. And the use case for this technology rise immediately. So a lot of different projects, a lot of people started to creating Bitcoin native NFTs. So till this date, we've already seen 6 million of inscriptions, and basically it started a few months ago, and already more than 1,200 bitcoins were paid in fees to the users of this technology. And here is another dashboard which covers Ordinal Marketplace. So it's the marketplace who are trading these NFTs created on Bitcoin, and we've seen the volume of 116 million in trading these NFTs from 55k unique users who made around 200,000 trades. Yes, it's quite centralized right now. So we do see that one or two platforms are controlling almost all volume, almost all selling that is happening here. But this quite always the case for new technology, and the projection here is that in the near future we will see more and more decentralization with this technology, and we might see a new players who will come and create quite easy to use marketplaces, wallets. So we will see more adoption from someone who is not Web3 native and who wasn't like using crypto wallets and different applications on daily basis.
That's quite interesting about the volume. Actually now checking the website totally dedicated to this protocol BRC20. It's brc-20.io. I'll put it in the comments. So here you can see top projects, and the total market cap is a little bit more than $500 million, and last volume during the last 24 hours is 206 million. Which is quite good, I would say. And we have top projects by market volume during the last 24 hours. And NFT collection order is number one. And then we also have a rise of different meme projects, including Pepe and Meme and a few others. But also punks are also on this protocol. So that's interesting to see how much of it is actually of utility on the DeFi side, and how much is just memes and NFTs. What do you think, Petro?
Yeah, it's a good point, but it's crucially to differentiate the Ordinals NFTs and BRC20 tokens. So BRC is actually the analog of ERC20 tokens that were on Ethereum, but here these BRCs are created for Bitcoin. So basically, if you're looking at Ordinals, this RD, VMPX, and Pepe, it's actually the meme token created on top of Bitcoin. And this created a lot of, I can say, concerns from Bitcoin developers, because we've seen a big spike in Bitcoin fees. And to send a transaction between two Bitcoin wallets right now, you need to pay a lot more. And even part of developers thinking about creating a proposal to ban this technology completely, because they are considering it as an attack on the network. So it's really, I can say, insane experiment on creating meme tokens on Bitcoin. And a few days ago, the total market cap of all these tokens was around 1 billion. So it's highly volatile, and it's in the phase of, I can say, inception. And the same thing we've seen with the Ethereum and global market trend, because we've seen that for the past few months, the price of Bitcoin was growing, and the narratives on the market were more like during the bull run, and we somehow skipped from the growing the price of Bitcoin to memcoin frenzy that we've already seen during the previous cycle. And this, for me personally, is a sign that the market is slightly overheated, and we are due to correction here. Because if you're minting a lot of different tokens that have no value, and this token is pumping each day and increasing its market cap like insanely to 1 billion of market cap per the asset. This was the case of Ethereum Pepe token. So for me, it's like a red flag for healthy growth of the market trend right now. But taking into consideration technology apart from hype and apart from trend, this ordinals inscription is really breakthrough in technology, and it allowing a lot of new use cases for Bitcoin. And in my opinion, it is here to stay. We will see the utility and implementation in the future, but right now it's more like a train of hype that will settle down in the near future.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it not gonna, well, at least from my point of view, it's not gonna add so much value and so much utility into DeFi. In contrast to the protocol that is being developed for Ethereum, right? The new ERC 4337 that introduces the concept of embedded wallets. I think that's going to be a real revolution where people would not need, to save their phrases, seed phrases, to have their MetaMask always on, etc. So I think that would be a much bigger impact. So it would be really bringing Web2 much more closer to Web2 experiences. So it would be much easier for people. Still, now, of course, that's a interesting experiment for BRC20, but I don't see it, changes the game actually.
Yeah, agree on that. Actually, this protocol that will come to life on Ethereum is really a great breakthrough. And the motto of this update for me is to make a Web3 as easy that your mom actually can use it. It's really great stuff when we can see someone without the knowledge of Web3, without the experience working with seed phrases, wallets, and like keeping them safe, will just go to the platform, create a wallet, put the password, and okay, he's done. We might see a lot of more people coming into Web3, and it's great. It's great for the adoption. So let's move to actually the last part here. I will stop sharing, and I will just briefly describe what I have for you here. So we looked through all the potential and new implementations of Bitcoin, but we haven't seen the actually main utility and driver for DeFi, as Dima said. So these technologies are cool stuff. They are cool to create NFTs, create meme tokens, but you cannot improve the DeFi with it. So in our pipeline of projects, we do have one project called Botanics. It is the dedicated team who are working on building a layer 2 on top of Bitcoin, which will be the EVM compatible. So it will be something that will connect Bitcoin with Ethereum. And a few minutes ago, we looked through the stats of hacks, and we've seen that breaches are actually the most vulnerable thing. And Botanics team will try to solve it with the new approach to security. So it will strengthen the network by implementation of Spider Chain. It is actually the decentralized network of multisigs. So to understand it, you can think about layer 2s on Ethereum. And if you are using, for example, Arbitrum Bridge, you are bridging assets from Ethereum into the layer 2. And your keys and like information is storing in different multisigs. And for Botanics, the case is that they will constantly change the entities who will be able to create the security of it of these multisigs with this spider chain technology. So it will be decentralized, randomized network. So the pool of storing of information won't be control of any centralized or like group of people. So every Bitcoin block that will be mined will be associated with a new multisig between a set of random participants. So each time it will be a random group of people or entities who just won't be able to somehow communicate and create the possibility of hacks. And when bridging into these L2 your assets from Bitcoin, so Bitcoin will be actually stored in this specific multisig, and you will receive the asset on this layer 2, which actually is EVM compatible and can be used in different DeFi applications. So you can go with your Bitcoin to Uniswap, you can provide liquidity in Bitcoin, you can go then to Curve, you can send your Bitcoin to work and to provide a yield for you. So this is something something like inspiring and with a high potential for the future. And currently they are working on finishing their protocol and the technology how this spider chain will work. And they are planning to have their testnet this summer and go to mainnet by the end of this year. And if you would like to know more details about it, we do have information in our website. So you can go to our website, you can have find the application and join our investment club, and there you will be able to find more details about this project.
Yeah, totally. Like layer 2 on Bitcoin sounds really, really nice. I also like this project. All right, I think we covered quite a lot, and I think we can wrap up. Hello from Incubator. Hey, Jonathan. I think you missed the most important part. We just discussed all the hot topics, but good to see you joining. Okay, we have another question from Eva. You were the winner for the activity today, for promoting your project, of course. Where do you think Bitcoin can have biggest impact economically, Petro? What do you?
From the economic perspective, impact, I can see the impact that a lot of institutions, publicly traded companies, can allocate a part of their funds into the Bitcoin when they will see that it is safe, that they can like trust this technology and use it to generate a part, like a small profit on top of it. So it will allow them to relocate their assets. But if we're talking about economic impact, currently we do have an environmental impact from Bitcoin having a large energy consumption. And from the other side, the economic impact of proof of work of Bitcoin is in transition of the world energy consumption to more renewable energy. Because if you look through the miners and mining factories, companies in United States, a big part of them are using renewable energy. And I see the trend that with the adoption of Bitcoin and with more and more people coming there, yes, we will see that energy consumption will grow, but we might impact the path and the pace to transition to renewable energy with the Bitcoin and with its technology.
Yeah, I agree with the Petro, but I also want to mention the personal side. So it also has a lot of impact for personal lives of people in terms of you can imagine a lot of people in very specific situations that we mentioned, Russia-Ukrainian war. A lot of people were deprived of the ability to move their money around the globe due to restrictions of the bank system. And this invention, Bitcoin, was one of the few options how people could be, open and could benefit from their assets and would be able to move them freely, either to donate money or to move it in order to invest in other country. So I'm personally a little bit of a Bitcoin maximalist in these terms, right? I think it is an essential tool for people to own the money, their value, and I think it is a great way how to store the value and how to be able to use it in the way that you would like to. But also it gives a lot of transparency. Of course, you should make sure that people are not using it in a malicious way. Which country do you consider to be most Bitcoin friendly? I think Ukraine is one of the most Bitcoin friendly countries, to be honest. You already mentioned that Ministry of Digital Transformation used Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies to accept donations, and I think now we have the legislation in the latest stage. I think they're now only working on the adoption of the Ukrainian legislation towards MiCA, the markets in crypto assets, the European regulation. So I think Ukraine going to be one of the best, to be honest. But I'm also seeing that Portugal, for instance, is also quite open, and you can already see a lot of tax benefits for people who are using cryptocurrencies. So I think a lot of people, a lot of countries are actually trying to come up with different incentives, but also I've also seen a trend where actually countries, they provide some kind of freedom for 1 year or two. A lot of people and projects are jumping into this country, changing legislation, changing their own habitat and the habitat of their company, and changing to other jurisdictions. And then this country starts to tighten up the rules. So hopefully with the introduction of markets in capital assets, the MiCA regulation, the pan-European regulation is going to be much easier for people to use crypto, to use Bitcoin, but also have a lot of understanding how the market would evolve. That's my point.
Yeah, thank you. I can add a little here that I also do see the adoption and Bitcoin-friendly countries from some countries that have the quite not stable currency, right? With problems with national currency, as we've seen with El Salvador. We might see with different countries that are somehow related to United States and then are controlled by dollar currency, but they want to have less control from it. So we might see more and more this implementation of Bitcoin as legal tender in the near future.
Yeah, totally. Hi, Sergey. Greetings from Kyiv. Hello, good to see. Hello, Ukrainians. All right. I think we have no other comments or questions, so I think we can wrap up for today. What do you think, Petro?
Yeah, I do believe we shared a lot of information, and we already shared all the links that I was using today with you in the comments. So you can check all the information by yourself and find insights for you. And I encourage you to join us next week. We will be having our weekly LinkedIn session at the same time next week. So mark your calendars and join us for an insightful discussion.
Yes, thanks everybody. You can also find a few useful links in the comments to this live session. Thanks a lot for joining. Have a great rest of the weekend.
Thank you. Goodbye, everyone.